You're going to want to take the 5-minute tram or bus ride over to Skansen, the world's first and still the best outdoor museum. Sweden in a nutshell, this vast park features about 150 houses and farmsteads that have been collected from all over the country and brought together in an exquisite living exhibit. For many visitors, this transplanted chunk of old-fashioned life will be the main highlight of Stockholm. Most of the houses are open only from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m., so you don't want to get here when the park gates open at 10 a.m. You could arrive at midday, and if you are hungry, recharge your batteries with lunch at one of the many fine eateries in the park or just outside the gates. Skansen's buildings date from the 18th and 19th and 20th centuries and show how people in different social classes lived, worked, and were housed. There are costumed local guides dressed in historic outfits ready to explain the story of each display and tell you about life as it used to be lived in the buildings you are visiting. Now, when you're in these buildings and you see the local guides in their costumes, don't be shy. Just speak to them and ask them to please tell you about the place. Simple question, what have we got here? Or listen in if they're in the middle of telling someone else. They don't mind at all. That's why they're here. That's their job, is to explain it. And they all speak perfect English.
And what's above your head here? What's this?
This is dried bread. So they only bake for a couple of times each year, and then they hang it to dry like this to save it from the rats and to preserve it.
Really?
Yeah.
And could it last for 2 months?
Yeah, probably even more, I guess. But then they had to soak it in milk or soup or something when they wanted to eat it.
Oh, it's too hard, yeah.
Yeah.
So they'd make a porridge maybe too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like porridge. And then the family lived in this room, or this is their bedroom and also a working space.
So everybody slept in one room.
Yeah.
So what is this house?
It's a farmhouse.
Uh-huh. And this was the main room here, the living room?
Yes. Living room, bedroom, kitchen, all of it.
That's it. 1750.
And there's a village center with a blacksmith, carpenter, silversmith, druggist, printer, weaver, gift shop, windmill, and a school.
What is this store?
Hardware store from 1930s.
And so what would be the main kind of things that would be sold here?
Tools of many kinds.
Mm-hmm. For the farming village, farmers live nearby?
Yes, and carpenters and...
Oh, tradesmen, yeah, carpenters.
Yes.
You'll also find animals in the farmyard and a naturalistic zoo with bears, bison, elk, wolves, and reindeer, and a variety of other animals. Notice these frolicking bears, European brown bears. We have this image of bears as being vicious and mean and evil, but look at how they're frolicking and playing. Of course, you wouldn't want to go down into the bear pit, so it's good to be up above looking down. Some other people playing this day at Skansen were a whole field of young people who turned out for a concert. It was a free pop concert that was being videotaped for their national television with some of the young rock singers, rock musicians out for the day. And so these young blondes, notice all the blonde hair here. Well, these young folks are out having a great time for the afternoon at Skansen. There's a whole wide variety of kinds of entertainment that you might run into while you're at the park. And of course, they publish a schedule as well. You could check online or check when you enter the park, get the handout of the day's activities, and find out if there's any special events like this one happening. It's a nice chance to mingle with some locals. Do a little bit of relaxing, and in this case, listen to some pop music. Very casual atmosphere here among the Swedes. casual dress, casual fashions, friendly people, and fortunately, most Swedes speak some English, especially the younger ones, so we can communicate. On your third and final day in Stockholm, you'll want to see some of the modern downtown in the morning, visit the Fine Art Museum, eat in a stylish cafe, and then walk along the main shopping street back to the Gamla Stan in the afternoon and stay there through the evening. Start at the center of Stockholm's modern downtown at the vast traffic circle called Sergelstorg. It's a modern post-war design with interesting streets and squares around it. Have a brief look as you walk past, heading for the nicest shopping blocks of Hamngatan, and that's where you began the tour at the information office a couple days ago. If you want to peek inside NK department store, go ahead. It's a large, fancy store with a nice cafe. And across the street is the huge Gallerian shopping mall covering 2 city blocks. This Gallerian shopping mall is right in the heart of town, next to Kungstragarden. You can't miss it. And it's huge. It's like a self-contained city. And of course they have places to eat and drink. They've got all kinds of clothing stores, children's toy stores, sporting goods. You name it. This is the biggest shopping mall in the heart of downtown. And it's a lot of fun to walk through, but we'd rather be out on the streets. Now we're going to loop around here and there for about 15 blocks walking, starting out with a stroll through the pretty park called the Kungstragarden, the outdoor living room of the city. Here you'll find locals relaxing, kids playing, fountains gushing, statues standing, and flowers blooming. This park is really a perfect urban space. You've got the greenery, there's cafes, there's places for the kids to play, and beautiful benches. There's the big chess game and just different kinds of activities, all in this one central park. Walk back another 2 blocks to Bigger Jarlsgatan and take a left into a beautiful 5-block section of trendy shops and cafes, ending at the modern mall of Stureplan. Of course, Sweden and Scandinavia in general is famous for its design, modern design, when it comes to furniture and lighting, interior furnishings, fashion. So it makes a nice treat to step in there and have a look. And then we continue on to the Stureplan shopping mall. Just out front is a very trendy restaurant specializing in fish, really popular at night. This whole Stureplan neighborhood is very much the night spot. But in our case, we're here during the day, and it's also quite lively. Stepping into this wonderful modern shopping mall. The outside of the buildings look so old, like 19th century. And you go inside and everything has been renovated and rebuilt. There's a beautiful atrium and chocolate shop and bakeries and clothing stores. And some of these buildings look like they used to be exterior walls, and they've been converted to be part of this new interior shopping mall. One of our favorites is this kitchen gadget shop, Cordon Bleu, and inside there's a wide variety of goodies, in particular these oil pour spouts for your olive oil. Really great control when you're pouring oil through these particular French spouts, so look for those when you're traveling. It's a special kind of spout. And then detour a few blocks behind over to Ostermalmstorg if you would like to grab some takeout or just look at the lively Sluhallen food market. You can buy some food here, eat it at some of the cafe counters inside if you like, or you can buy food to go and walk out to the adjacent city park, sit on the benches, and have yourself an inexpensive picnic. And then double back to Stureplan for another look at this recently renovated intersection that is one of the most popular centers of town, day and night. We'll continue a few blocks along another busy shopping street, the Kungsgatan, where you just might find that Swedish crystal vase you've been craving, and turn left into the busy outdoor market of Hotorget, where you will be immersed in flowers and veggies with noisy hawkers enticing you to buy. Rather than returning to Sergelstorg where we began, walk a block over to the busy pedestrian shopping lane of Drottninggatan. This is truly one of the world's great streets. It's always filled with locals. It's a perfect spot for a stroll and people watching. And make your way south for 10 blocks of retail heaven. As it leads you back to Gamla Stan, the street gets narrower and then becomes the Vasterlanggatan. That's the old town's main pedestrian street that you were on already in the first day. Altogether, this route is about 1 mile long, offering a happy experience you must not miss. A long pedestrian street connecting the modern town with the heart of the old town. Just before arriving in Gamla Stan, you'll pass over a canal and through a couple of triumphal arches at the back of the Parliament, where you could take a brief detour if you want another glimpse back into the past. The Museum of Medieval Times underneath the Parliament recreates the atmosphere of old Stockholm, including a section of the city wall in its original location, and many artifacts from the Viking days. This medieval museum was constructed rather recently. They were going to build a parking lot, and when they were digging, they found the ruins of that original wall. And so they decided to create a museum on the spot, which illustrates life back in the Middle Ages, back in the 11th century up through the 15th century. This is how people lived in the old days in Stockholm, and you walk through this cavernous vault to get there. It's great to be back in Gamla Stan, the best part of Stockholm. Things to buy here include the famous Swedish crystal and related glassware, wooden toys, silverware, handicrafts, and anything that shows Swedish design. Non-shoppers can wander into those little side alleys once again to explore 4 centuries of ancient buildings. The more you stroll around the old and new sections of town, the more you'll appreciate how much variety of architecture there is to enjoy. Other diversions to squeeze in. If you're interested in fine arts, consider a visit to the Moderna Museet, opened in 1998 with an excellent collection of 20th century famous artists. For a more traditional collection, visit the nearby Nationalmuseum, which holds a decent collection of old masters and impressionists. This is a very good museum, definitely worthwhile for the art lover. Well, it's always a pleasure to visit a fine art museum when you're traveling, especially when it's the National Museum of a country such as Sweden. And their collection is quite pleasant, and the building is fabulous. The building itself is worthy of a visit. And of course, the gift shop is excellent too. You'll have a whole range of art history books and stationery, toys for the kids. And here's a trick. If you want to find out what's in a museum, go to the gift shop and find the museum book catalog, and then just flip through it, and that'll give you a quick preview of what's there. Perhaps pick out some important pieces that you don't want to miss, and that'll help you decide if you want to even go in the museum and how much time to spend there. After the museum, enjoy some refreshments in the opulent Grand Hotel 1 block over. You should try their world-famous smorgasbord. You can have it for lunch or dinner. One of the main specialties here at the Grand Hotel buffet lunch is pickled herring. About a dozen different kinds, and they have lots of other foods, as the waiter tells us.
Char of eel, different kind of herrings, eggs for shrimps, so all different kind of salmon. They are put marinated, caraway marinated salmon, smoked salmon, hot smoked salmon. Pick one of those 3. Here's some mustard sauce with honey in it. Fried chicken or mustard sauce, veal and dill sauce, brisket of beef butter and onion. And behind you here, you find the cheese and desserts. Non-fattening.
Oh, this meal was really one of the highlights of our entire Scandinavian tour. Just fantastic. Of course, it's a little pricey, but you can take your time. You can stay here for at least 2 hours, maybe 3, and just enjoy some conversation and fabulous food. Even if you don't want to pay the price, sit in the hotel's lobby and rest for a while amidst the plush setting. Another nearby restaurant is the very famous Opera Källaren in the Opera House. And just another block beyond the Opera House is yet another museum. This Museum of Mediterranean Antiquities has a wide range. Ancient Greek and Roman, you've got Egyptian in the basement in a beautiful small building. It's very easy to see the collection in even a half an hour. Canopic jars from ancient Egypt and hieroglyphic slabs with the original paint still visible after all these thousands of years. They've got a couple of spectacular mummies down in the basement, so be sure to get downstairs if you make it to this small museum, and it's really worthwhile. A really excellent collection of history on display. There's so many museums in Stockholm, it's really hard to keep up with them all. And if you take a short bus ride just outside of town, you'll reach 2 more museums. There's the Ethnographic Museum, which might sound a little dry, but it's the history of humanity. You have a wide range of different cultures represented here. There's the North American cultures with the Indians of the Plains and the Pueblo. They've got a full mock-up of some villages and teepees and outfits and clothing of the American Indians, and some of their fish hooks and wood carvings and totem poles and tribal ceremonial masks, as well as a significant Asian collection. We have a variety of statues of the Buddha on display here, along with more clothing and photographic displays, richly illustrated to give you a feeling for some of these ancient cultures. Just next to it is the Technical Museum, which may or may not be your cup of tea, but you can at least pop in the lobby and have a quick look. They've got old airplanes hanging from the ceiling and all manner of machines. And when you're done, just step right outside. The public bus will come and swoop you away and take you right back downtown. It's an easy ride. And there's the Royal Palace. And in the basement is yet one more museum. It's the old stables. And inside we've got a variety of costumes. And we've also got some of these old carriages with a lot of Baroque decor, as well as some fancy armor from the old days, right in the basement of the Royal Palace.